everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and yesterday we got episodes 7 through 9 of Andor Season 2, and a lot happened. This was the big payoff for pretty much everything we've been building in both seasons of the show. This really felt like, this almost could have been the finale, really. I'm glad that we do get another set of 3 next week, because, it's going to feel, like we're tying up whatever loose ends remained, but this was the big one. This was, pretty awesome. So I'm gonna try to go through everything, but just so much happened. Obviously go watch the show itself, but basically we start off, the rebels on Yavin 4 have already formed. Like, I don't know exactly who's in charge here. I guess Dodonna and is it Drevin? I guess those are the two who are in charge at the present time, and we don't really get to see like exactly who it was that pulled everybody together. I guess we can say maybe it was Andor and who's Mon Mothma's cousin? Val. Yeah, I guess we can say it was her, and then General Dodonna. I guess we can say those 3 are the ones that like pulled whatever different rebel groups all together, because last time we saw Yavin 4, it was just that small ragtag, random groups of kind of idiots there, and now we got like a full-fledged, like an actual army growing. And I don't know, I guess I'm curious just who did this, who's actually in charge here, because Willman is back, and I thought for sure he would just stay with Saw Gerrera's crew, so I don't know if that's just over, because he didn't mention Saw Gerrera once, and I don't know if like, he just doesn't do that anymore. It's been a year, so I don't know, but he is doing jobs with Luthen. And Luthen's people seems, they seem free to come and go from this place. So I don't know exactly who's in charge at this rebellion at the current time. Obviously by the end of this, Mon Mothma will come in and she'll pretty much, be the head representative of the rebellion here. But right now, I'm like, I don't know who did it. It's kind of weird that we watched this entire show and we saw Luthen's group and Saw Gerrera's group, and we heard several other groups mentioned, and we met the Gorman front there, but Yavin 4 is just like, here I am. So I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's already been explained in canon, like exactly who started the Yavin 4 thing, but I know by the series of Rebels, it was already there at a certain point, by like season 2 or 3 or something. So maybe they just kind of said like, well, it has to have been established already here because of the other show. So here you go. It's already here. I don't know. And we'll get into more Rebels connections later. But anyways, yeah, Andor, he's kind of losing a little bit of faith. Okay. As in like, he doesn't want to do this anymore. He's kind of done. Like, he's lost so many people. He's risked so much. And at a certain point, you gotta be like, hey, I did what I can, right? Like, I did a lot of great things, a lot of terrible things, but how do I need to serve the rebellion for the rest of my life? Like, am I supposed to die here? Which, and we know he will. But anyways, he's losing faith. At the base, a fascinating thing happens with a Force healer, and they say later that she's just the cook, like she just cooks food there. But I guess word got around that maybe she's Force sensitive somewhat, and I know Force healing is something that kind of became controversial. Rise of Skywalker, and then Grogu can do it, and it just became like a somewhat controversial thing. But this cook here, at least people believe she can Force heal them, and we see she detects Andor, and she kind of basically says like, oh, he's got a destiny about him. Something special is going on there. And she does manage to seemingly heal his wound, at least somewhat. It's not entirely healed. It's not like gone. But we do see it definitely looks better than it did that morning. So she did something. So maybe not necessarily a Jedi level of, Force usage. But she can do some stuff, and she can sense things. And, I think that's pretty cool to show, like, yeah, there's people out there who are not necessarily, your Force using Jedi who can do all the crazy backflips, but they got something, which of course he'll meet later in Rogue One with Chirrut Inway. He's like, okay, he's not a Jedi, but he's got something. So he's got like that Force connection there. Pretty cool. Let's see. But yeah, basically we end this episode with him going to Gorman again, and it's kind of funny that Bellhop recognizes him and basically doesn't say anything, but he's like, hey, she's gonna tell people you're here, so you know. And we see Gorman. It's very much on lockdown. The plaza has been completely barricaded off. People aren't allowed to go there anymore. We're hearing all these reports of all these attacks and the terrorizers, you know, the terrorist attacks on Gorman, this and that over there. Basically the Empire spinning the Gorman front into being, well, you know, terrorists, right? Which of course they would. Like, that's exactly the plan. Because remember, the Empire's plan is ultimately to provoke the Gormans into becoming violent. That way they can wipe them all out with some justification and then go and take the resource that they actually want to in the first place. Like, that's ultimately the whole plan. And we see all that unfold in the next episode, where really this is the event. This is the Gorman massacre, which, you know, they did mention the earlier Gorman massacre with Tarkin and his Star Destroyer landing on people. And so in that exact same spot, basically what they do is the Empire opens up the plaza. So all these people come flooding in, protesting, and meanwhile they've surrounded the entire area with stormtroopers and tanks and stuff, basically just waiting for violence to start, you know. And of course, Cyril's here, and Cyril does not know about any of this. And it's fascinating because I was questioning what exactly Cyril knew and how much Deidre was keeping from him, because we knew she was keeping something from him. And basically Cyril learns while all this is starting that, like, oh, the Empire, you know, basically learns the whole plan, and he's in shock. He's like in denial about it at first, and then he confronts Deidre in like a really intense, like, he was almost gonna kill her kind of way. And he's just shocked, you know. He's like, basically he's confronting the fact that, oh, the Empire actually is evil. It's not just about, you know, bringing order and laws and rules, and, you know, because that's his whole thing. He loves rules, he loves order, he loves laws. He believes everyone should follow the law, and that's like his thing, right? But he never like questioned that, like, oh, maybe the Empire would do bad things, or maybe they're not the good guys just because they have a bunch of rules and laws. That doesn't make them the good guys, you know? Or the fact that they would break the laws and that they would be the ones who are just massacring people and being evil, you know. So that never really occurred to Cyril, you know. He thought he was basically on the good guy's side, right? So he has like that moment of, you know, you think, oh, Cyril's gonna have redemption, but in the middle of the Gorman massacre, which, by the way, that starts with the Empire having a bunch of snipers, they shoot their own guys that they sent out there as, you know, little cannon fodder. They sent their own guys out there in a volatile protest, and then they started snipering them. That way they would start shooting back at the Gormans would start shooting back at them because they were shot at, and that's how you start this, you know, seemingly a riot, right? It was just a protest, and now it became a riot, and now it's becoming a massacre, and that's exactly what happens. Anyways, so Cyril, man, you think he's about to have this big redemption moment because he's realized what the Empire is, and then he sees Andor, and this is like, it's almost like a Shakespearean tragedy what happens here, because he was so close. Like if he didn't see Andor in that moment, I almost believe that he would have flipped, you know, because he's like in shock. He's leaving Deidre. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe the Empire is doing this. But then he sees Andor, and everything else goes away, and he just sees Andor, and he tackles him, and he fights him, and it's actually a pretty brutal fight, right? And then he almost has Andor. He's got him with a gun pointed at him, and Andor's like, "Who are you?" And he stops. He lowers the gun. He's like, "What?" And this is like, you know, you could take that two ways. In a literal sense, Andor does not know who this guy is. Cyril has been obsessing over Cassian for years at this point, hunting him down, basically blaming him for everything that's happened to him. He made him lose his job, and he had to take this job over here, and then by hunting him, he met Deidre, and then it's like that's how everything happened for him in his life for the last like 5 years. But this guy has no idea who he is. He's met him like one time, I think, and his back was turned, so he has no reason to know who this guy is. But also you could take it in a metaphorical way of like, hey Cyril, who are you right now? Like, are you Empire? Are you Rebellion? What are you? You know? So you could take it that way. But in a very, like, again, kind of Shakespearean tragedy kind of way, because you think, again, maybe something's gonna click in Cyril's brain. Instead, a blaster bolt goes in Cyril's brain in that moment, and it's the Gorman, the old Gorman leader, who basically was trying to warn everyone, hey, this is a trap, don't go here, don't do this. He shoots him dead, you know. And earlier they had gotten in a little bit of a fight, basically saying like, oh, you knew this was happening, you knew exactly what was going on, they got all this drilling equipment, and this is the first time Cyril's hearing all this. So they got in a fight earlier, and now that guy comes back and kills Cyril. Speaking of that guy, he tried to warn everybody. He tried to warn everyone, like, this is a trap, this is clearly a trap. And he, you know, no one wants to listen to him because his whole thing was like peaceful resistance, you know, like he doesn't want to actually fight, he just wants to like resist in other ways, right? Which, you know, that's a route. Obviously there's historical, you know, context for that too, right? But he is the only one who sees that, like, them opening the plaza and all these people going in there, like, that's a trap. And I think that's my one thing about the Gorman group here. It's like, none of you questioned this. No, everyone just like started marching and started playing their music and chanting. You didn't ask, why did they open the plaza just now? Why are all the exits surrounded by stormtroopers? Wait, what's exactly happening? Like, nobody questioned this. You just like let hundreds of people gather in this, you know, basically this killing pen or whatever you want to call it, like this. I don't know why nobody questioned it. Like, and I know maybe it's like mob mentality, or, you know, you just get into the chanting protest thing and you're like, you're not thinking about like the context of, wait, where are we at exactly? Where are we walking? What's hold on, are we surrounded right now? Like, you don't think about that at all. But yeah, I don't know, that's just how this all went down. And also, of course, the K2 units are there. They go after a bunch of people, and they made them really scary. They're like, imagine a Terminator, but with really long arms that just, it grabs you and it just tosses you like nothing. Like, you're just like a little basketball to them. So they toss you against the wall, you're dead. They toss you like 100 feet, you're dead. Like, it's just, that's all they have to do. They don't have to like crunch you or blast you. Like, they literally just throw you in the air. And then you're basically gonna die, because, like, you know, in a more grounded real life thing, it's like, you're not gonna survive this confrontation. So we see that a bunch. They're really scary. Andor gets chased. They crush one with a car, and that ends up becoming the K2SO that they managed to revive by the end of these episodes. So after this, of course, we have Mon Mothma's giant speech, and this whole episode is basically just a build up to her giving this really epic thing. And I kept wondering, like, well, how is the rebel stuff going to be connected to all this? And it kind of turns out that the way they got around it was that, like, she gives a speech here, it's not the one from Rebels, and then Cassian helps her escape. There's this really cool, like, spy mission where some of Bail Organa's people are there, but one of them is actually an ISB officer, so they have to kill her, and she tried to get Mon Mothma, and then anyways, they kill her driver. They're like sneaking out the back door, and it's a bunch of cool stuff. By the way, Erskine, that guy's a side character from Rebels who showed up like last week, I think, and he's in Rebels. Like, they give him a name in Rebels. He's kind of like the best dude ever in this situation. Like, he gives a distraction for the ISB officer, that way Cassian can shoot her. He stays behind, that way they can escape the other direction. Like, I don't know, he's like, this would not have worked if that guy wasn't here, specifically that dude. So I don't know, I don't think he's ever been in anything except for these episodes and in Rebels a little bit. But they gave him a name, like, they gave him an actual character name. He's not just like background rebel character number 3. So I don't know, like, it feels like he kind of has his own show somewhere. like in a, you know, if everyone could have their own show, he would be a character who has their own show. Anyways, they managed to escape, and basically when they get back to their little hideout, it's explained that she's going to be taken by Gold Squadron to Yavin 4. They want her to give another speech. I don't know who they is. I guess General Dodonna, like, cause they just said, oh, they want her to give another speech. They want to rewrite the story, right? So I'm not really sure. Oh, sorry about that. I'm not really sure what they mean by that. Cause who's they? Cause I don't even know who's in charge of the rebels in this moment. Cause she is the one who will become in charge. But anyways, basically, they end up leaving there. Willman's fine. He had stayed behind to go try and find his girlfriend and Gorman, but he's fine now, so he goes to the hospital on Yavin 4. They get there. They explain like, oh, she gave another speech, do you want to hear it? And like, no, I've heard her. So the one that we see in Rebels, that is a different speech she gave, I guess, while Gold Squadron was delivering her. And then the Phoenix Squadron is just there to like help them fuel up, and then they end up helping her escape because she was being chased. Gold Squadron was being chased. So I don't know, if you want to see like what happened to Mon Mothma immediately after this, go watch, I think it's season 3 of Rebels. It's that episode of season 3, because we meet up with Gold Squadron and they help her deliver, she gets like 3 speeches I guess total. Anyways, that's how she ends up forming the Rebel Alliance. So it's pretty cool. I think one thing that doesn't really make any sense, and this is just like a little nitpick. So in this episode, Bail Organa explains that he's going to stay behind and he's going to basically just keep an eye on things here, because Leia, within the next year, Princess Leia has to become a senator and take his place, right, as the senator of Alderaan. Okay, so I don't know if we're gonna see her next episode, or at least mention her name, because Bail Organa is supposed to be on Yavin 4 with everybody else, but he doesn't go there yet. The only thing is that if you go watch that Rebels episode where Mon Mothma is giving her speech, we see Bail on Yavin 4. So I don't know exactly how you want to explain that, or it's just like, hey, we're just gonna let that one go, like, because he clearly stayed behind on Coruscant, and they have like a big discussion about it. But then again, you watch Rebels, that episode where she's giving another speech at the end of the episode, Bail is on Yavin now, not on Coruscant. So I don't know, guys. That's a little nitpick, but it's one thing that like I don't think that makes sense. I think when they made Rebels, they were assuming that at this point Bail would be on Yavin 4 and he's already left the Senate, but clearly that's not the case. So I don't know. But within the next year he's gonna have to, because obviously in Rogue One he's also on Yavin 4 now, which means Leia has taken his place in the Senate. So we're gonna see what ends up happening there. Maybe they'll mention it next year because that's what's supposed to be happening. But also, yeah, so now we know that basically Andor and K2SO have only been together for about a year, and Mon Mothma and all that, like, basically when we meet them in A New Hope, they've been here for about a year doing this, which I guess is fine. I think in my brain, like when I watch Rogue One and A New Hope and all that, in my brain I had always said like, oh, they've been like at this rebel thing for at least 5 years now, like I don't know, it just felt like it was always a longer amount of time. Like Cassian and K2SO, they've been together for like a while, but it's only been a year, which that's still a long time, I guess, but still, it's like it's all a condensed shorter amount of time than I thought. Oh, also Bix ends up leaving Cassian, basically because Cassian had said he was gonna leave the rebellion. He was done with this, he didn't need anything, he has Bix, and he doesn't, he's like, I can settle down now, we're together, we're alive, we can stop now. But she ends up leaving him in the night, saying like, hey, look, I can't let you leave this, you're special, there's something special about you, you're gonna end up being very important to the rebellion, I can't let you leave all this behind just because you want to be with me. So she leaves, which it's kind of tragic also, because she says something like, oh, when this is all over we can catch up on all the stuff we missed or something, which that's not gonna happen. So yeah. Oh man, Bix can't catch a break, like you left him with good intentions, that way he'll stay with the rebellion, but that was like the last time you're gonna see him, probably. Like, I don't think Bix is in the show for the last 3 episodes, and it's like, god damn, you know. So that kind of sucks. Maybe one day we'll meet up and find out what happened to Bix, because Cassian died. Maybe she came back and joined the rebellion after he died. I don't know, because I'm sure she heard about it. You know, I'm sure she heard like, oh yeah, he was on Scarif when they blew it up. So yeah, man. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about these 3 episodes. This was intense. It was really crazy, but yeah, I'm really happy with what ended up happening here. This was a great Gorman massacre, but like, it was just as brutal as you kind of built it up to be in your mind, I think. So I don't know, great job. It felt like the climactic natural ending, and we get 3 more episodes, so we're gonna see more Cassian and K2SO, and we're gonna see like what happened here to lead them up to Rogue One, you know. And then immediately after that, of course, I'm gonna watch the movie, like immediately after those 3 episodes end, because, you know, it feels like it's all kind of tying together here. But yeah, some things I'm hoping that we at least get mentioned, and I mean just mentioned. I want to see at least Leia get mentioned, that she's replaced Bail in the Senate. Saw never mentions Jyn Erso in this entire show. I think that's one thing that I'm kind of like, I kind of wish happened. I wish that maybe early on in season 1 they had like, because I know Jyn probably would have been gone by that point, because she left when she was like 16, I think. But it would have been interesting if they had at least mentioned it, but they don't mention it at all. And I don't know, it kind of feels like she should have gotten some kind of shout out, because she is, you know, like the main character of Rogue One. So it feels weird for her to not get any mention at all. But I don't know, that's just me. Anyways, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.